Eric Washington, Buffalo Bills defensive line coach, now named assistant head coach for the Buffalo Bills. What does that mean for the 2023 Buffalo Bills and beyond? Eric Washington came here in 2020, coming from that Carolina pipeline we all know so well with Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane. But welcome to my channel here, Bills News Consolidated, currently in Colorado at a campsite, doing a little bit of off-roading, off-grid camping. My Toyota Corolla hatchback, sitting here watching the sunrise behind me. Absolutely unreal. So if you guys want more on that, check out my other channel, Matthew Manzella. Just doing some crazy stuff over there. Lots of drone footage, 4K drone footage, also on Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you guys check that all out. But Eric Washington, Buffalo Bills defensive line coach, now named assistant head coach, the same role that Leslie Frazier was in. What does this mean? And one point I want to make is, maybe Leslie Frazier's gone. We all thought that, Leslie Frazier, he was just going to be gone for this upcoming year. He's going to take a year off. Now, I don't think Eric Washington is going to be demoted, if Leslie Frazier comes back. So when Leslie Frazier does come back, if he does come back, what kind of role is he going to have? Maybe he isn't an assistant head coach anymore. Maybe he's just a defensive assistant helping Sean McDermott at maybe a reduced pay, reduced cost for Leslie Frazier. But Eric Washington, defensive line coach, coming here, being an assistant head coach for Sean McDermott. We know that Sean McDermott is going to be calling plays in 2023. So knowing that the head coaching duties for Sean McDermott are going to be really spread thin here because of his duties on the defense. Now, just having that synergy, that seamless talk between the D-line and also Sean McDermott, having their hands right on how everything flows, right? And we always say NFL, it's one in the trenches. You got to win with that offensive line. You got to win with that defensive line. Now, Leslie Frazier didn't really have a position group that he worked with on this team, right? So he was just kind of overseeing things. Same with what Sean McDermott did as a head coach, just kind of overseeing things, kind of looking at things, not really maybe spending all that time in the defensive line room throughout multiple seasons since 2020, since Eric Washington. So when we talk about the trials, the tribulations, the hurdles, the flow of this defense, the communication from the front line all the way to the back end, how is this thing gonna roll? How is this defense going to click? And I really think having our hands in it, having Eric Washington there, having Al Holcomb, ex-linebacker coach from that Carolina pipeline, Eric Washington from that Carolina pipeline, this is huge. This is absolutely huge. If Sean McDermott has a question, like why this, or why did we have this personnel package? Last year, it wasn't that Leslie Frazier messed up calling plays, 13 seconds, the Kansas City Chiefs, these back-breaking moments when our backs are up against the wall, we got complacent. We didn't stay aggressive, that Sean McDermott way. We have to stay aggressive, So I really think it was also a player personnel problem with Leslie Frazier. How many times did we see 3rd and long situations and we had DaQuan Jones out there, our run stuffer, the guy that takes on double teams and run support, the guy that we missed against the Cincinnati Bengals and they were able to run the ball down our throats. We just were so unbalanced on defense. We didn't know if they were going to pass it, if they were going to run it. We didn't know what to do. So as a defense, you have to dictate. You have to dictate. As soon as that offense starts dictating to you and you start calling plays being based on you getting punched in the face, that's not how you win football. On defense, you have to stay aggressive. You need a blitz. You need a stunt. You need to create confusion. You have to create chaos for that offense. You need to make the quarterback not know where to go, right? You have to make the quarterback look at his second, his third options. And you have to know what those second and third options are going to be. matchups, understanding this team. Did Leslie Frazier lose his touch of this team? And I really believe he quite possibly did. And now maybe Sean McDermott did too a little bit, because he's been stuck in his head coaching ways for so long, not really working with the players, not really, sitting down in these position groups and getting right into it. And now with Sean McDermott calling plays, Eric Washington, now a assistant head coach working with the defensive line, Al Holcomb and Butler and all these guys that we have brought in, great coaches to get this defense ready for 2023. So, again, I know the whole Stephon Diggs drama stuff, and I really believe winning is going to heal. Winning is going to heal all of these problems. The Buffalo Bills go 13-3 again. I don't think Diggs is going to be bickering during the season. That's for sure. And one other thing with Diggs, a lot of people are saying that, when Diggs threw up his arms at Josh Allen during the Cincinnati Bengals game, he was kind of ignored. Josh Allen was buried in the playbook. He was buried in that Microsoft tablet, looking at the plays, looking at ways to get better, looking at ways to find Diggs. And Diggs sitting there in frustration, kind of his hands up in the air, looking on at Josh Allen and Ken Dorsey and the lack of this offense. Now, the one point I do want to make is that Stephon Diggs was targeted 10 times during that game, but on the final drive, he was only targeted once. So throughout that game, Ken Dorsey targeted Diggs, our best number one wide receiver. He threw the ball to Diggs, and on that final drive, he decided not to. And maybe that's what Ken Dorsey thought. Maybe he thought, well, look, we've targeted Diggs all game long. He's been successful. Cincinnati Bengals might just be thinking that. Maybe they roll coverage towards Diggs. Maybe we're using Diggs to open another wide receiver to create plays. And that is exactly the deficiencies of the 2022 Buffalo Bills right there. Not having a second option to go to other than Stephon Diggs. Getting in those moments of the game, we have to find another option to throw to. Diggs wanting DeAndre Hopkins. How does Gabe Davis feel about that? I really believe we need to step up. Deontay Hardy, Trent Sherfield, Dalton Kincaid. As much pressure as we put on Kyer Elam last year to start because Trey White wasn't going to be good to go, I feel like Dalton Kincaid needs to feel the same amount of pressure to be a number 2 option for Josh Allen to make this offense explode. But I really am loving Eric Washington, defensive assistant here, defensive line coach, and now a head coach, assistant head coach for the Bills. Baby, come on, let's go, Bills Mafia. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit like, subscribe. Hopefully this video uploads. I don't know when it's going to upload. I appreciate every single one of you. Go Bills.